Good evening. Welcome to Sharmark, and I'm your host Sharmark. And today we're going to talk about football. Yes, that's what I said. We're going to talk about football. I have a very good friend here. We go way back in the time of Kool-Aid and Tobo. We go way back. Miss Sherry Ann Gillard Williams. Good evening, Miss Williams.
Good evening, Sharmark. Thank you so much for extending the invitation for me to be here.
You're most welcome. Miss Williams, I met you years ago, time of Singer, when Singer was there. I know you as a designer. I know you as a radio announcer. And then now you're into football. What got you into football? And then not only football, in the St. Lucia semi-pro, right? What got you into football?
Well, yes, we do go way back. Um, and yes, I have been involved in the arts and the creative industries for a very long time. I am also a media practitioner. I've worked with several media houses here in St. Lucia. Um, I've also done a lot of marketing and communications, corporate communications. And so when you say I'm into football, um, I think you might be partially correct because my husband is like the sports guru,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely, yes. So you have been
So
into it behind the scenes, kind
so,
of.
well, I learn a little bit here. You pick up a little bit here and there because you hear the conversations, you see the games, and so on. You ask questions and whatnot. So that's the extent to which I know football. However, I think I touched a little bit on it a while ago when I said I was into marketing and corporate communications, and that is what I do for the semi-professional football league. I'm the marketing and sponsorship officer at the semi-professional football league, and that is a department within the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports.
Okay, so before the semi-pro was in the youth and sports, where was it before? And then if what umbrella?
Okay, so the football in St. Lucia is administered by the St. Lucia Football Association. And so the program, which has now been pretty much transformed or upgraded into something where it can benefit a lot of footballers in St. Lucia. It previously was a program that was facilitated or administered by the St. Lucia Football Association. However, through an agreement with the government of St. Lucia, they have collaborated to create the semi-professional football league. And as the name suggests, it is I would describe it as the highest tier of football that is played in St. Lucia, right next to national team selection and so on.
Nice.
I think the main difference to it and what has made it more groundbreaking is the fact that the footballers get compensated both for training and for the games. So essentially, they get a salary for playing. So, when you watch the Premier League
Wait
on
a minute. You'll have
television,
space to fit me. I never did any sports in my days, but
can
if
you
I'm getting
kick?
I'll be a cheerleader. I getting paid. Oh wow, that's nobody on a
Yes,
serious basis,
they
Miss
get
Gila.
paid.
This is beautiful.
Yes.
I think it would give I think an incentives give somebody an extra encouragement because for years we see footballers struggling in terms of any sports, but we're talking about football and you see them struggling. So I think for a young person for them to have a St. Lucia National League for the football, I think that's taking them to a different level.
Yes, and that's why I said it's groundbreaking because it has never been done.
Wow.
And this is the first year actually that the semi-pro took off. When I say first year, I mean 2024. We started off in March at the Bindu Phillip Park with a grand opening. There were exhibition matches and so on. And so it just snowballed and mushroomed from there. It's lasted typically it should last 6 months, but we went into 8 months. We had some challenges, of course, that caused that, but it was a very intensive round of competition among the players. And so we have 19 district leagues. We have a tier one, which is the first division, and we have a tier two, which is the second division. Now, I did mention that the players get paid. I think I need to make a little clarification on that. The players in tier one get paid. So they have the stipends for the training and the playing of matches. Tier 2 does not get paid at the moment, but the intention is to eventually extend or introduce the payment system in the Tier 2 division.
How do you ensure that the players would not just decide that they want to play because they're getting paid, to avoid it to be just not about the money, but about the love of the sports?
Well, it should be about both, actually. But to answer your question, there is a registration system. There are 19 district leagues, and as I mentioned, each of them would have been registered. Each of their players would have been registered as well, and each player has a profile, so you would be able to keep track of who is in what team, who is in tier one, who is in which division, who is in tier two, and we have that system in place so we can differentiate and identify all of the players. We had several matches, about 80, 81, 80, between 81 and 83 matches played throughout the 8-month period. And there were winners from both tier one and tier two, which we recognized for their efforts and their excellence. But more so, I think the semi-pro provides a platform for these players to be able to get recognized, not just in St. Lucia, but outside. So, you have international scouts, you have regional scouts looking out for, skill, talent from these players.
And we'll be right back. We'll be getting some more information from Ms. Gillard in terms of the St. Lucia Football League. Welcome back. Ms. Gillard, whilst I was in commercial, I was looking at my notes, and one of my questions for you. So that means if you would have every coach in St. Lucia documented at the league?
Well, as it stands, when it comes to the football aspect of it, the core football aspect of it, that is being handled by the St. Lucia Football Association.
Okay.
I cannot speak for them, but I know that they have their system in place since that is the association that governs and administers football in St. Lucia.
Okay.
However, they are partners with the government of St. Lucia on the semi-pro initiative.
Okay, nice. I must say your logo is whoever designed the logo is very attractive. I like that the fact that they kept to the colors of St. Lucia.
Yes.
Really nice. The national
It's
colors.
really national, so we are sticking to the national colors, the national theme. Our tagline is leveraging football to transform lives. And as it suggests, we are using football to be able to make the lives of the players, the coaches, the administrators better, to transform it into something that is much better than when they first
I
started.
think your tagline is a very strong one.
Yes, it's very relatable as well because, again, you can see the benefits of the semi-pro on the lives of the footballers, even the communities, the fans, where we go to the people who come out to support the players. You can see the impact that the semi-pro has been having on all of these stakeholders.
I realize you just had an award. I think, what format did you all use for the award? Because since you all say you all started in March, and I think you all had to have an award so fast. What format did you all use? How did you go ahead and decide who's the winners? What groundwork happened behind the scenes to come up with the concept for the award?
Well, there was a lot of observation, looking at the players, their performance, and so on. And so there were several categories that we highlighted when it came to looking at how you grade or how you measure the performance of the players.
Would you like to share some of those
Of
categories?
course, sure. So among the categories, best defensive team, and these categories were spread across the tiers. So both in tier one and tier two, you have the best defensive team, you have best attacking team, you have most improved team. There were also individual awards. But before I go into the individual, there was also a fair play award. And of course, again, it is across the two divisions. The individual awards, we have best coach, we had the most valuable player, we had the top scorer, best midfielder, best defender, and best young player, as well as goal of the season. So all of these categories, in all of these categories, we had two winners because we have two tiers, both from tier one and tier two. Of course, our champions this year, the overall champions of the tournaments that we run, were in tier one, we have Leclerc, and in tier two, we had Viewfort South.
Oh, nice.
Now, it's a bittersweet situation for the teams right now because we have a promotion and relegation system. So the two top teams in tier two will now be promoted to tier one, where they will now get paid for playing and training and so on. And unfortunately, the two bottom teams on the table from the first season will be relegated or demoted, if you want to call it that, to tier two. So
I kind of like the idea
Yeah.
because what it does is almost like you're on a job and to know you're getting a promotion. I think sometimes, as much as you enjoy the job or you enjoy playing, I think it will make the players maybe always appear at rehearsals, put a little more effort in terms of being on time.
Well, it's
And-
interesting that you say that because the requirements for receiving payments and receiving maximum payments is relies on their level of discipline, their punctuality, their conflict resolution, their leadership. A lot goes into measuring how much they get paid. So the training stipend is capped at $500, and the match payments, the match stipend is $200.
Wow, that's nice.
So you can get anywhere between $0 and $500 based on how you are measured in terms of the requirements. Do you meet the requirements? Are you early for training? Are you disciplined?
So the discipline would cover the way that those players behave on a day-to-day basis in your
Yes,
community, because you
yes.
don't want to be somebody that's very disrespectful.
That's right.
And the league would not want to be associated with somebody like that.
It's we're trying to create a very prestigious brand, and you cannot have people who are indisciplined, people who are bringing the brand into disrepute. So again, that's why the requirements are there, because we want to hold people to a high standard. If we are going to leverage football to transform lives, as our tagline suggests, you need to behave in a certain way. You need to carry yourself.
Since
in a
we're
certain
speaking
way.
about behaving in a certain way, Ms. Gilad, do you all have, I mean, like as human beings, we fall and we get up. I think, do they have in case a player maybe need to be disciplined? That player is a good player, but they maybe do something, they slide a little bit. Do they have a discipline,
Yes,
something to discipline them? And maybe if it's a suspension or something, then afterwards you come back.
Yes, naturally, in a situation where you have a system of reward, punishment would also be part of that system. And so naturally, there would be a punishment regime, if you want to call it that, so that if a player does not live up to the contractual arrangement or the expectation, then yes, there are measures that can be taken to, have that player fall back in line.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one prize they're missing there. To me, if I would score more goals, each goal I score should be a little 250.
Well, I mean, there are other tournaments that, offer that type of incentive.
So they call that like the man of the match or something like that?
Um,
Because sometimes I try to
You
understand
do get
football.
the
I
man
don't
of
really
the-
understand the game. And I wonder in cricket and football, they're highlighting one player, and I think it's a team thing. So I was wondering how they hire. How do you get the man of the match and stuff like that?
You do have the man of the match being identified. But what I have observed is that it is not always based on how many goals were scored or who scored the most goals and so on. There's a set criteria for identifying the person who would essentially be the man of the match, who would be named after the game. But in our awards, we did identify the goal of the season, which, I mean, you can probably say that's the goal of
Oh,
the
nice.
game, or that type of thing. But all in all, I think the payments, the in terms of the salaries that have been paid, amounts to about $700,000 in the 2024 season.
Oh,
So you imagine you have 19 district leagues. Well, in Tier 1, it's 10 district leagues, and you have about 30 people registered on each team. So that's 300 people you're talking about in total. And so to pay out 700,000 in salaries and so on just points to the impact that the semi-pro has been having on the lives of these people. These people are making additional income for some, and for others, they are making this is a way of earning an income to take care of yourselves, your families, and so on.
we'll be right back. We'll get more details about the St. Lucia Football League. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Ms. Gillard. Ms. Gillard, tell us what is the plans for this season or your new season in the semi football league?
Well, coming off of last season, which was the inaugural season, the debut season for the semi-pro, we have conducted our reviews and we have looked back at what worked for us, what were the challenges, what were the limitations, what are the opportunities that exist in our planning for season 2. And so we have already identified a major improvement, and I think that will augur well for the players, for the teams, the fans, and also for the sponsors who will be coming on board with us. And that is the fact that we have increased the number of venues that are available for hosting sporting events. We have several refurbishments being made to venues around the island.
Nice.
So last season we had about 4 venues that we used. That was the Mindu Park. We used the Super Mini Stadium, the Denry Playing Field, and we had a couple of games at the Philip Marsley Grounds in Viewfort.
But I'm sorry.
However, this time around, it's up to 7 venues that we now have to play or to choose from. So we're looking at now at adding Larry Sus to the list. We're looking at adding Groseley because there's a lot of work being done at the Groseley playing field
I realize it's all fenced up and
That's
it's kind of
right.
more private now.
Right. So we're also looking at I said Larry Shoes, Denry Canneries as well. We're looking at, going into the communities
And I like the
where
fact
the
that you
teams
spread it all
right.
over. And I think as a team, you'd feel like the league is actually coming home to
That's
you.
right.
I'm just gonna quick question. How many months or what long of a period makes a season in the football world?
For us at the semi-pro, it's 6 months. So last year we started from March, and we did end, because of the extension of time, we did end in October, but normally it's 6 months. So this season, the second season, we're going to be starting from June, and we're going to be going all the way up to the end of the year.
Wow, it looks like you have your packed schedule.
Yes.
Is there anything special about the seasons coming up? Would you like to share with us?
Well, first of all, I want to invite sponsors to come on board with us, because there really is value not just for the players but for all stakeholders involved. And I go back to our tagline, which is leveraging football to transform lives. It's the lives of not just the players, but the community, all of the stakeholders involved, the sponsors. We want them to get on board with us, to call on them for their support. It's young people we're talking about here. And so, you want to have some hand in their development. Look at Julian Alfred.
Yes.
Look at how far she's come. We had this grand celebration for her. So can you imagine more St. Lucians being able to represent St. Lucia on that
I think
level?
there's a lot of talented people out there. They just have to tap into it and believe in themselves. So in case somebody's looking at the program right now, and do you all have a social media handle that they can go and get more information on the league?
Yes, we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We're We're also on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. And of course, the games are streamed. Last season, we had several of them streamed, not all, but quite a bit of them. However, this season, there are plans for more consistency when it comes to streaming the games. So, it's not just the fans at the venue that will have the game experience, that will have the team experience, but we're trying to spread our reach, expand our reach, not just in St. Lucia, but overseas. Like I said, we are giving the players an opportunity to get seen and get scouted. So obviously, you have to keep that platform open for international eyes to be able to be on St. Lucia. Yeah. So we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we do have a YouTube channel. And of course, all of our information is there. So you can look for us, the Semi-Professional Football League, on Facebook and on Instagram, as well as YouTube. You can catch some of the highlights from season one. Nice. We have all of the games uploaded there, so you can go, get your fill and catch up, because next season, I can assure you, there are teams who are even hungrier for the championship.
Yeah, for the championship, yes.
They're looking to dethrone Leclerc there.
So, where is your office located?
We are in the same building as the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports on Miku Street.
Okay, yes.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think Miku Street is, yes, Miku Street right there.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So that means there's a lot. So it's almost like there's a brighter future for football.
Of course, I mean, just having the awards, and each individual who won an award got a $500 check with that award. You had people winning in multiple categories and so on. So, just adding that up shows you the level of incentive there is, for playing football at this elite and top level.
Yeah. Did you have any sponsors for your first award?
Yes, we did.
Would you like to highlight some
of course,
them?
Of course.
I was waiting for that question.
We'd like to give a loud shout out to Order Shop St. Lucia. They are the agents for Brothers Cider in St. Lucia.
Oh, nice.
We had Courts Unicommer coming on board with us. We had Invest St. Lucia making their own investment in the development of youth. We had Flow, of course, coming on board. And so we had Bay Gardens resorts. We had Sandals, all three Sandals contributing to, prizes and so on for the footballers, especially at our awards that, just passed. We had Royalton Resorts coming forward in a big way, of course, to present prizes and whatnot to the players. And so, speaking of that, we also have a lot of incentives for the fans. When you come in there, your ticket can be called and you can win a prize. You can win something really nice to go home with.
I can tell the sponsors really butter the Football Association, because you remember all the sponsors off your head. But that's very good for the sponsors to get involved in the development of the young people in terms of sports. Mm-hmm. I think it says a lot that they actually investing in the community and the future of the young persons.
Yes, and that's a good thing, because these same people that you pump so much money into, you make such a big investment in, are the same people who come back and give back and contribute.
Wow. Ms. Gilad, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up? Because this evening was very informative. I think I learned a lot. So now when I see somebody kicking a ball, I might just think like it's $20 that's flying up in the air. I'll have to show some more interest in the football. But I'm very happy, because that means things are happening in the country and in the world, in the sports.
There are a lot more opportunities, especially in sports, for young people. That was not available before, but a lot of steps have been taken to introduce opportunity to St. Lucian young people. And what we want to do is to get the corporate community on board, in much the same way as they came on board for Julian Alfred. You never know where your investment might land,
I like that.
Yeah, so if you come on board and to help and to groom and to grow these athletes, when I come to you and I ask you for, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, you'll be more than happy to say, hey, yes. Of course.
Yeah. We'll be more than happy to wrap up. Thank you so much for being here.
It was my pleasure.
St. Lucia, thank you so much for viewing. Catch your recap on Sunday. Thank you. Bye now.